Over the past 20 years, in conjunction with the Ridge Group, we've developed a very comprehensive system for management of wild deer in Queensland. And this system can be applied to all species of deer, and it's specific to the individual property. So the first thing we look at is what the individual landowners want to achieve, and then we try to develop systems there that give the best results. One of the integral parts of these systems is that we do have specific seasons for the different classes of animals that we're managing. For instance, when we're hunting for venison, we don't take hinds like the ones you've just seen come out of the gully here, because at this time of the year, in January, early February, they've got their fawns, the young ones. Some people call them calves, but we call them fawns. They're about this size. Very dependent on their mothers, and they're too young to be left orphaned. So we have a ban on shooting of females unless they're dry, unless they have not got a fawn on them. We don't have any shooting of these females until about March at least, when that fawn is big enough to fend for itself. By doing this, we believe we are acting very ethically, very sensibly and humanely. We're treating these animals with full respect, and we're certainly not being cruel on the young fawns. Unfortunately, we see now that we've got the Pest Act 2002, which is being overarched by the Biosecurity Bill, and with it will be the Feral Deer Management Strategy. All these documents are pushing that we as hunters should be improving and increasing our take of deer out of the bush. There's no seasons, and all they do say that if you do take a female that's lactating, all efforts should be made to track down that fawn and kill it. Now, just to clarify a couple of things there, the previous drafts of the Feral Deer Management Strategy suggested that if a lactating female was shot, that all efforts should be made to track down and kill the dependent fawn. In the final drafts, though, it's the opposite. They're saying shoot the fawn first, then kill the mother. Now, neither suggestion is practical. In this sort of terrain, most times you cannot see the fawn, it's hidden away. So if you shoot the mother, then you've got to try and track it down in there, which is oftentimes next door to impossible. If you were lucky enough to see the fawn, the young with the mother, and shoot it, the chances of getting a shot at the mother are often very slim. So all you've achieved is that you've killed the young fawn. Neither suggestion is sensible or practical. What we're suggesting is that in certain times of the year we have set seasons where the shooting of lactating females is discouraged. This is sensible and this is humane. I might have also seemed to contradict myself by saying that we don't shoot females unless they are dry. But it's not a contradiction, it's the truth. Quite often we have dingoes or wedge-tail eagles will kill young fawns. And within each herd there are yearling females that haven't yet had a young one. The only way these animals can be identified is if people are taught how to tell the difference between one animal and the other. And this is what we do with our Ridge Group hunter education courses, where we actually take new hunters and young people out and we let them experience for themselves. We show them the difference between the animals and we teach them why we try to manage them under these principles. We show them the ethics and we teach them the respect. The people that are coming up with this sort of stuff have no idea of how things actually work out in the bush, and I find it actually quite insulting that they tell hunters to teach their kids to kill lactating females and then try and go out and kill that little fawn. I'd like to see the people that are writing these legislation, these regulations, I'd like to see you out here. Come out here with me and I'll watch you kill one of these hinds, then go and try and find the fawn if it's out there in the lantana gullies or in the blady grass. I want to see the look on your face after 1 or 2 days when you know you've left that little orphan fawn out there to die of starvation, and see how it affects you, because it certainly affects us. This is the last thing that we want to be teaching our children. We don't want them to be disrespectful of these animals. Sure, we've got to increase the harvest of these animals, the take. We've got to make sure we keep the animals in a sustainable manner on this country, that they don't overpopulate it. But that can be done without treating them as a pest. And one of the ways you do that is having set seasons, taking your cull stags at certain times of year, taking your trophy stags at other times, taking your meat animals, your venison animals at other times of the year, and teaching your people respect. That's what we don't see in your feral deer strategy or in your biosecurity bill. We don't see any respect for the animals or for us as hunters. Now, unless you can come up with some magic new disease or poison that's specific only for deer, you better get used to the fact that deer will remain in the Aussie bushland forever. So instead of having these animals hounded and pursued, nocturnal, frightened, in little scattered mobs all over the place, why not aim to have herds of quality deer that are well managed by people that are working under a cooperative system between the landowners, the hunters and the government? That makes more sense to me. If you try and push the people of the bush around, the hunters and the landowners, you won't get anywhere. Instead of us working together cooperatively, we're going to have one mess. That's not the way I want to see the future for my grandkids. We're hunters, we're not killers. We have far more respect for the deer and far more respect for the environment than most people. So doesn't it make far more sense for government to work with the people of the bush to come up with a sustainable management plan for wild deer? Now, what we're suggesting that you should do is go to the Ridge website, get the address of your local MP and either send them an email or give them a phone call. Treat them with respect and decency, because these people are hard-working, they're there to look after your interests in your local community. So if they hear your point of view, our hope is that they will relay this on to the Minister and we will see the changes that are needed. All we ask is that wild deer be used in a sustainable manner and kept as an asset for future generations. If you ever want to have a say on wild deer management, now is the time to do something. This is our world. This is our wild country.